Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever it is in the world you're coming to us from. Welcome to DYOR Live here on the DYOR Media Network. My name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking, here in the digital media world. So glad to be hosting another episode of this award-winning, super popular daily crypto talk show. Once again, as always, ladies and gentlemen, it is October 24th. I always have to look for some reason, even though I know it, what day it is. And over here, over my shoulder, you see the one and only, my co-host, Pedro Garcia. Ladies and gentlemen, Pedro Garcia, the crypto analyst, crypto chart analyst. I blew that intro for you, Pedro.
It's okay. It's all good. What is up, my people? What is up, my people? That was what is up, my people. What if up, my people? Shout out to the WIF community out there. Also, shout out to our community. We got Dero Latin. We got Dr. J in the house. We got Crypto Mike. What up, dudes? What up, my brothers? We got a Weibo token in the house. Shout out to you guys. Thank you for hitting those likes, subs, and share buttons. You know how much it means to us. We are talking about some real stuff today. We've got some dope stuff coming on. I'm gonna let you have that one. Have you talk about it? What up, Crypto Knight? It's good to new brother. What's up? How you doing? It's good to see you, man. Got a lot of cool
tell
stuff.
Everyone what they need to do, though.
I shall. If you don't mind, please hit that like, share, and sub button. That helps us out quite a bit because we talk about real issues, talk about real trading, what to do, how to plan for the market crazy, and most importantly, got to get that word out, letting people know, because the algorithms don't like us because we talk about real stuff. So let's have some fun. If you guys could please post it on the X/ our good old friend Musk platform or the good old Zuckerberg platform. Those two guys have done a lot of things in the world. And one thing they've done is they've connected a lot of people. One being me and my real family. So that was dope. In addition to that, I think I've never shared that story. I might have to one day share that.
You have not.
I have not. It's a dope story. Anyhow, with all that said, please share because that does help us out, get our message out, and more importantly, kind of abreast. We talk about real news stuff, and that keeps people abreast with kind of the inner side. Like you have your main stuff that actually goes on, and then you have the undertone, the undercurrent, as I like to call it, what's actually happening, the read between the lines situation, so you can actually see what's actually going on. Those are actually good terms. We need to write that down because read between
the lines,
between the line and undercurrent.
Anyway, we got a good show for you today, ladies and gentlemen. It is Thursday. We were off yesterday getting some real world stuff done. I would say this is increasingly becoming the real world here, and the other stuff is not, but the other stuff produces the income, and this is just getting there. So we'd appreciate the time you spend with us, and we'd appreciate you sharing it out wherever it is. As always, I say, if you're the person in charge of a project or know somebody that runs a massive tech company that needs a product placement or a sponsor or a spokesman, have them go to our website, dyornetwork.media, and look us up on how to sponsor us, how to product placement us, or how to just whore us out. So,
hey, we don't mind being whored out. We're okay. All we ask
morning to Crypto Mike. Thanks for joining us. Morning to Chuck Jansen. Dr. J in the house.
Dr.
Darren Lawton, the Irish pirate living in Spain, is with us. If you drop two letters, Donald Rump could win the election in Ireland. Donald Rump.
Donald Rump. Donald.
Yeah, my ancestors can't talk anymore. That Gaelic threw them off forever, man. It just ruined their ability to speak for millennia.
Dude, who says you need to speak? I mean, dude, there's sign language now, man. We got computer talk. You got AI narrative, dude. Sooner or later, I'm just going to just read my mind, and it's going to send it out to people I want to talk to.
and as soon as they can start reading your mind, the jails are going to be really full.
Dude, Minority Report, bro. They'd be like, you want to punch so many people in the throat. Why?
Why are you so angry on the inside?
I'm not. I just, sometimes people need, I'm really nice to people, though. Like, I really am. I'm the coolest. But sometimes I'm just like, you need a hug.
Well, today we're going to talk about what's going on in the world of BTC, as always. We're going to talk about some meme coins. Pedro's been playing the meme coin market. If you didn't notice that Pedro got his article published on Bitcoin.com news feed and all that about meme coins and what's coming in the market and all that. A big feather in the cap to that. In fact, the whole DYOR crew if you haven't seen my many tweets, posts, LinkedIn, and all that type of stuff, are over my shoulder here. This shoulder, we've got Chris Alexander here, who's one of the crypto swamp creatures on the show. He's going to be on the show later today in the second half of the show to talk about Washington, D.C. and what's going on in the Washington Bureau of DYOR. And also, he was recently featured on ABC talking about the risks of AI and also how people are getting tired of it in social media very quickly. And also, we had our Justin Wallin on Fox News again recently, along with News Nation. If you haven't heard of News Nation, it's actually a Fox News, MSNBC style competitor based out of Chicago. The company that owns WGN Radio and all that type of stuff in Chicago started as they call it, a balanced news network. And I was like, right, sure, they're balanced. No, I listened to them for about an hour and a half, and every time they would say this for one party, they would say that for the other party. It was
really
it
good.
was very much an attempt to try to bring you the information, to let you make your own decision, like we do here on DYOR Live. We bring you the edutainment, and you make your own decisions how to invest. So that's good.
Absolutely.
Good. So a feather in our hat for getting all of our, well, except me, all of our crew on the news here lately, which is a big thing. Spreads the word and turns us from a small group into a big group pretty quickly. So we're really happy for that.
It's popping like it's hot, bro. It's like a hot potato. Boop, boop, boop.
And Betty Baskin says yes.
What's up, Betty?
Yeah,
yeah,
AJ,
baby.
Thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it. And do what Matt Rhodes says, everyone. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. Whatever your platform on. If you're watching on Rumble, thank you to everyone watching over there. We really appreciate it. You've become a good outlet for us. And, of course, if you're on YouTube here, or really anywhere else, on LinkedIn. We are on LinkedIn today. The LinkedIn comment system is terrible because it's owned by Microsoft, and Microsoft likes to overcomplicate programming and make things miserable for everybody. So if you're watching on LinkedIn, come on over to the YouTube feed. Just go to YouTube, search DYOR Media. You'll find us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're right. You're right there. A good time for a gladiator meme. Are you not edutained?
Dude, that somebody needs to come up. We need something. Every time everybody's laughing, someone needs to be like, are you not entertained? With everybody laughing on our show. That would actually be a really good meme. That would actually be really good. So, no, cool question for you.
BTC page. Oh, go ahead. Well, hold on. Yeah, let me bring up the right. I forgot to put us on dual screen here.
It is all good. It is good. Go ahead and talk about a little bit about the that article that you were about to bring up real quick.
The article, if you don't recall,
actually, do you want to do BTC first and then article?
Yeah, let's hit
normally
the Bitcoin.
What we do. Yeah, I was gonna say. All right, cool. Why is that doing that? I'm trying to figure out. I had a. Oh, come on, please work.
Please work.
Come, like, just work, please. I need to get a new computer, like legit. Like this thing is just, it's moving like at.
Mine's starting to creak along too here. 3 years of live streaming on it.
It's like, bruh, I'm about done.
Yep.
Like it's like that. All right, let's see if
it's gonna make a good graphics machine, just to feed graphics into the show when the technology sponsor comes through.
Maybe this will work. I'm sorry, guys. Forgive me for this. Normally, I'm pretty on top of this.
You're fired.
Right.
Got the cat with hat there.
What's up?
While Pedro's doing that, just a quick question. Do you guys any audio issues? We're trying to check something else. I guess I'll talk about the schedule a little bit. Today's my last day in Kanukistan for a while. Heading to Toronto. Got an actual real world event coming for 2 days next week that I'm going to be busy with. And then Mrs. Striking and I are off to Chicago a little bit. My daughter comes back from being away for a bit, so we're going to spend some time there. So the schedule will be a little wonky the next week and a half or so. But we'll be trying to bring you all this great entertainment for sure. Pedro will be leading the charge with crypto full rant Friday tomorrow.
Yeah, it's tomorrow. Come on out, guys.
I'll be in the car then, so I'll participate the best I can.
All right, it looks like it's able to kind of shut some. I had like basically a million tabs open, and it was just like, no, we're not working anymore. I had to sit there and delete and go through and find which ones I needed to do. All right, so here we go. I apologize here, guys. Let's jump on here real quick. All right, so Bitcoin has been really, actually, Bitcoin, aka Mr. Beast, aka Taylor Swift, Swifties, aka Shiba Inu, Shiba Roni, Shibaru, Shib. There we go. We hit all the major terms there. We need to find, I guess Tate just pushed out a new coin out there, AI Play there. He's kind of the dev, and I'm looking at that, so we might tap a roo into that real quick. It's already at 300 to 500,000 market cap already, so obviously the chads are getting into that, baby. So we'll be talking about that as well.
Yusuf Shiroki says Infineon is the king of crypto, but unfortunately, Yusuf, you're not the king of spelling. I realize Infineon's a tough one to do. I've blown it too. But yes, Infineon, thanks for joining here, Yusuf and
why are you going on Yusuf, man? Oh my goodness, Yusuf, bro. Yo, it is all good. I got heart for the guys who can't spell. Yo, it's all okay, bro. This guy, just because he's super smart and because he's super good at spelling and he's basically kick butt at everything, he likes improving. Anyhow, so next.
Welcome, Roland Rod, to the show and Crypto
Night. What's up?
All good here. I'm loving this new split screen thing and not seeing Pedro up close before. He's a good looking MFer.
Dude, I always feel awkward when you do
that.
Yeah,
the man hitting on you again, Pedro.
Dude, I swear, bro. When we were sharing rooms out there, I told you, man, listen, I'm not about the cuddleness, okay? You need to stay in your own couch. It's not okay. You know, like if that's what you want to do.
Everyone's not supposed to know that,
Oh,
Pedro.
my bad. Shh.
We shared an apartment, not a room.
That's funny. All right, here we go.
Sleep in the hallway on that children's bed.
Right? That was like, dude, I was like, who's going to, but then I was talking to my friend of that. She was telling me, because I was like, yeah, they had this thing there, like as if someone's going to live there. She's like, no, you sit on that. You sit on that and put your stuff together. And she said she had some fancy word for it, like some French word. And I was like, oh,
no, that wasn't a day bed thing. That was an actual bed.
Dude, I don't know, because the thing is, it was really hard. Anyways, okay, move. Next. Okay, here we go. All right, here we go. So here it is. So we've talked about us playing in this area. It came off of our supply area right here at that 70,162 to that 68,000. And over the last couple of days, we've seen it kind of come down and starting to find support here. Came almost tapped our area, dude. Look, it's so frustrating.
Oh, that was close, Pedro.
Tap. So
so close.
Dude, I know. I was just like playing. I was like, come on, baby, let's go. Here we go. And then boom, didn't tap it. So I was a little teary here, but it's all good. But I should have jumped. I've been so crazy and checking out other bunch of stuff. But you can see, guys, this was a beautiful setup. Came down, tapped our area here, and then almost tapped our area, and then we just saw it kind of go up from there. So nice little area here. We're finding support on this flip zone here. So many of you guys know that I talked about flip zones, right? An area that was previous supplied. Then when it gets pushed through, then what happens is the market goes up, comes back down, and it finds support there. So it's always a huge thing. It really helps us out. So what up? How you doing? It's good to see you. Yosef, ¿qué pasa? Roland, what's up? Good to see you guys. So,
Sal, welcome to the house. Thanks for joining us today.
Absolutely. Now, the other part behind this, and I bring this up, and it was really interesting, is we did see our 20 period moving average come in here. So when we see that on a daily chart, you always want to be paying attention to that, because it's basically an indication that it's most likely going to find support there and push up. So there were definitely a lot of buyers that did come into that, and that was that 65,225 area to that 64,008. Boom. Remember, I always talking about if it comes close to our area and we see volume coming into that, we definitely want to sit there and play that, right? And as that comes into that area, we want to sit there and go, okay, boom, we're seeing it cross above the 8 and 20, and whatever trending mechanism, whatever trending indicator you use, this is what you guys want to use to actually capture that trend up as it starts to progress, right? And so I always talk about, we don't have a bunch of seller wicks up in this area, right? We want to sit there and play the up position as we move forward. And that's exactly what we saw. So it was a good play there. Alrighty then. Now the other thing I want to bring up here is, and that I find really interesting, and this will be real quick, is that look at, like my heart is breaking for these guys, because I remember I thought these guys, I legitimately thought that sooner or later we were going to see Ethereum, right? Like, and I'm like,
just like the gas is coming out of Ethereum.
Oh.
Well, once it was revealed, it was only just really revealed lately, how little money Ethereum makes from the level 2 chain settling to them.
Yep.
And by moving all that traffic off Ethereum, which needed to be because it needed to be cheaper and faster, how it moved like 90% of the money. Not moved 90% of the money, got rid of 90% of the money in the fees. Because the level 2s charged so much less, they did so few transactions to settle onto Ethereum. And then when Ethereum launched their change and made it less expensive, it brought that, like, it was like Base is paying Ethereum only like $1 million a year or something like that.
Yeah.
Not like paying as an invoice, but in fees.
Yeah.
And that's nothing for something like that. I mean, you're thinking this thing should be cranking out $1 billion a quarter, like Tether. And it's not. And so people are losing a little wind there.
And you actually talk about a point here, because I'm about to bring that up. I said, because we know that there's not a lot of money coming in and out, we're seeing this out almost falter in a sense. And so it's going to be really interesting to see if Ethereum, and we've talked about this, right? I expect it to see a sell-off here. Normally this is the Bitcoin section where we talk about Bitcoin, but I think it's interesting to note that if this thing starts to see a sell-off, right, and we start to see some stuff kind of go down in this area, look, I think Vitalik's a brilliant man, and as well as the foundation there, they're all brilliant. They're not dumb. So they're going to come up with something that's going to make this more advantageous for people to get in and get out. Whether that is maybe potentially creating their own type of pump fund, or whether that is creating something that's going to be a new transaction mechanism that they can actually get maybe a micro transaction within Ethereum without huge transaction fees. Something's going to come about. I'm expecting something like that. And I think that's going to be a great play. But before we see that, I think we're going to see a major sell-off at some area here. And I'm not calling like Pedro Damas here, but I am calling in the sense where it just makes sense to me that something has to happen here. So I'm still very bullish. I've talked about I'm very bullish about Ethereum, right? But in the same sense, I'm also looking at the fact that, look, it probably needs to come down before we start to see buyers.
Yo, Joe Western, thanks for joining us.
What's up, Joseph, Mr. Western? It is good to have you. So hope you're good.
Bring your friends.
Yeah, go tell your people about us, bro. Or are you Mr. West from Mr. Def 7? Is that where you're coming from? Anyhow, let me know. All right, so you guys can see here that we are having, though, there's a consolidation here. So we have a higher low, higher lows, lower high, and again, it's a lower high. It's a higher high than here, but it's a lower high to here. So for me, this consolidation period is going to probably continue, right? As we start to see it continue.
Ladies and gentlemen, Anton Golub in the house, all the way from the great city of Dubai.
What's up, Anton? It is good to have you, brother. Man,
coming to us on the X feed. Thanks for helping us with the engagement over there, Anton.
Thank you, man.
Give us some Dubai Alpha, Anton.
Yeah,
let us know.
Please.
One sentence. What's going on? What's hot?
I'm like, what's hot? Dun, dun, dun.
Other than the temperature.
Yeah. And the women, because they have to wear the full garb, and man, I can only imagine how that would be. Oh no, I have never been there ever. So they don't.
That's not
really.
Dubai. Nope.
Nope. Like people are like, you've never been there, bro. Like
right. Instantly gave it away.
Yeah.
That's Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, not Dubai.
Yeah.
Dubai is very Western and accommodating place.
All right. Dope. Okay, well let's replay that then. All right, let's keep on moving where I'm actually really good at right here. Hot.
Real estate in Dubai is like this. Yeah, baby, it's great. Oh, it really sucks. Yeah, baby, it's great. Oh, it really sucks. It's either or.
All right, guys. So we can check out here that we're definitely hitting the higher time frame SMA here. This down 100 as well as that 50. So when we sold off on this with the daily chart here, where I'd expect us to come back down into that 2382 area, and then potentially come down and tap. What I've been waiting for is that 2100 area for myself. That's definitely the areas that I'm looking at. And additionally to that, if we start to see it really kind of come down, if it pushes through that, expect to see this thing tap that 1700, right? That 1743 area, as well as the 1462 area. Really important as we start to progress in these levels, because the truth is as it starts to move, if it does come down, it's going to, I believe it's going to go down quick, right? Because people are going to buy up a lot. So I've talked about
especially if Bitcoin starts going up while Ethereum is starting to fade. People are gonna, like, if they've got some profits in it, they'll be like, I'll just spin those over to Bitcoin and FOMO.
Well, here's the thing. We already know there's the ETF, right, for Ethereum. So as this thing starts to progress, I mean, if this sells off for Ethereum, I don't see that ETF like dying. I think I see fundamental money coming in and really saying, okay, what do we need to do to get this thing up and running? Because the US government is going to get really pissed off at us, right? So in that same sense, this is why I say that fundamental money, they will get money that will help support what we need to do to bring innovation and actually help that. And there will be a ton of money coming in. So when that happens, I don't expect this thing to stay low for long, like I said, right? So for me, seeing it come down, if it starts to hit that 2100, 1714, these guys are gonna be like, all right, let's go. Those guys in black suits and perfect haircuts, or sometimes blue suits or striped suits. Yeah, they'll be able to sit there like, let's go. What do we need to do? So and then that money man will come around and be like, with that briefcase, goes, all right, here's $1 billion, do what you need to do. And that's
that money man to come.
Right. All right. Well, we just need to create some like revolutionary technology that changes the world and turns it upside down and makes it better.
I have this idea. We're gonna do is we're gonna connect all the computers in the world.
Okay.
We'll call it the interwebbies.
Oh wow, dude, that sounds like a brilliant idea. Let's do it.
No one's thought of that.
Never. No. Nuh-uh. And there was never any type of, government, maybe president, who kind of pioneered that and got it up and running.
Vice president.
Vice president.
PedroNet. Yes.
PedroNet. I like it.
Not ARPANET, where it started from. PedroNet. I used to have to teach people.
Pedro.
Unlike many of you listeners here, I was actually working in the 1990s. Not a mere thought in someone's brain while hooking up drunk one night. And I had to explain
Stop talking about my life,
people that were senior executives in the 90s, that means they started working in the 60s, 70s, what the internet was and how it works. And so I had to explain what DARPA was and how the U.S. military funds all this stuff, and testing for atomic weapons at various universities. They said, we need a way to exchange data. And so I had to tell them all about the National Science Foundation and backbones, and they were just like, oh God, this is too confusing. It's never gonna work. I'm like, dude, it's already working. That's why I'm here telling you about it.
It's already working. That's what she said.
Crypto Night's in full shill mode.
I know, bro. It's all good. Shill away, baby. Shill away.
Baby. That's what we're here for.
That's what we're come on.
Finian, their pre-sale's coming to a close, isn't it? Soon here. Don't they got another week or so left before or is it a week or another month?
Oh, no worries, man. We'll tell Pinto he's much loved and he is missed. So we look forward to when he pops back in and hollers. Holla!
Pinto was on the show last week talking about the project GameStop Bets, a fun meme community takeover project of some sort. And is one of those crazy people that climbs windmills and helps like install those massive blades that are just going to chop up all the birds and everyone's going to die, right?
That's a real thing, man. That is a real thing. And it just literally decided to go black.
That's all right. I was just about to put you on split screen again, Pedro, because I've got
There
a
we go.
question for you here.
All right, talk to me, Goose.
We've been talking all week about this man here over on the screen here, and his counterpart on this Harris, and which was better for the economy or not. You know, who this, who that, who's going to support this, all these various questions. And so we've been talking about, when is this bull run going to start? Everyone's talking about it. And we, to the point where we were talking about, is the market pricing in a Kamala victory by keeping it down and just consolidating even longer than possible, or that anyone wants. Of course, everyone just wants moon bags. Of course, I understand that, but
absolutely,
is yesterday or the other day, Tuesday, I asked, is Kamala keeping the market down? Now I'm asking the question, if Trump gets a victory, and we'll bring this up again when Chris is on later to get the Washington think tank version of it.
Right.
Answer of
Insider tank.
If Trump wins, is it really going to be a bull run? I mean, is the world going to be so hyped because one country changes their president that it's going to change the whole market? And I asked this, hopefully it'll lead you to a good thought process here. One, obviously, he'll be better on regulation. But that's really U.S.-centric, right?
Right, absolutely.
And the crypto market, and I'd love to claim U.S., USA, USA.
Right.
Obviously, the crypto and Bitcoin market is larger than the U.S. And is growing like crazy everywhere else in the world, too. And so we can't say that the U.S. would be, unlike the dollar, in the hegemon. The U.S. is not the hegemon in crypto. It's much more worldwide and decentralized.
Yeah.
Can Trump really unleash the innovation in that? I mean, because we saw when he went to pay for he went to buy a hamburger in Bitcoin. Really, he just watched some 13-year-old on a wallet do it for him. He never even touched the phone. So we know he doesn't really understand it. If he's just pandering to us, which Mr. Trump is good at, he's very, very successful at pandering to people. Is he really going to do anything in office or not? So I'm trying to figure that out, and so I thought we'd give that a little bit of a talk today. And I'd like to see the comments from the people, not just your political view, like this guy bad, that person not good, or this person good, but whether you think that someone's policies will help versus another. What do you think, Pedro?
So I think it's a and I don't mean this in a negative, a duplicitous statement in a sense, right? Because it's not that it's just it's a twofold type of situation, right? Kamala everybody knows she really doesn't know crypto. She doesn't understand the idea of kind of crypto and what it is. She thinks that, stable coins and DeFi are kind of the one and the same, I'm assuming. She's never really talked much about it. And so I'm assuming here, we've seen the Biden administration really hold back on real support for it. One, because they are backed by many banks, right? We all know that the Democratic Party and many of their posterity work at Goldman Sachs, BlackRock, and things like this. So I don't understand why they wouldn't necessarily be 100% for blockchain, because it would make things more efficient. So there's some type of resistance that I don't understand. Two, when it comes down to Trump needs to get elected. He's already made this statement saying that he will make Bitcoin a national reserve of at least 5% of Bitcoin. And that at this current market value would push the market up. Now, would he pull it from BlackRock? Would he pull it from many other places saying, hey, this is eminent domain. This is what I'm going to do. Tough. That's how we did. I'm back with, not Truman. Why am I forgetting his name?
Nixon?
No, the one who basically went through and just confiscated gold during World War, or was it after
Roosevelt.
Roosevelt, yeah. And so when he went through and did that, he just said, sorry, guys, this is us. It's for the sake of the country, right? And that's really what would happen. I think that we could see something like that in a sense, so let's say Trump makes the initiative, he gets in office, he starts pushing that. The rest of the world is going to front run that. We already know that. Like it's going to push the market up. Are we going to see such an explosion in the market where we're going to have a God candle where it explodes, and all of a sudden we see it fade, right? Like That's one of the things that we could potentially see, because as it pushes up, right, as it's going up and it's moving, it very much could then, transfer and just slowly just start to go down as it continues. So that is one of those things that it's not just a clear cut sense. It's one of those things that as it moves in that paradigm, I feel like I'm doing a word salad. Yeah, paradigm. As it moves in the narrative of that paradigm, we could see people going, wait, is the king, does he have clothes or does he not have clothes? Right? In a sense, whereas does Bitcoin really hold this type of value where everybody's running to get it? Right. And now governments are involved and everybody's like, oh, shoot. And so I think there could be this narrative of that where it's like, is this really worth where we want to send resources to versus, let's say, hard, real capital like gold that China is doing? But also China has a huge, and there's Larry, who's on the Breakfast Club, talks about this a lot, that China has one of the biggest reserves of Bitcoin. Huge reserves of Bitcoin. And
just to interject, even when they banned Bitcoin altogether, we saw that they were still controlling 20% of the mining pool.
Absolutely. Pools.
So
multiple pools. Yeah.
That was for sure the government banking on that stuff.
Absolutely. Just simply because they needed more energy power, right? So they're shutting everybody off, saying, hey, we're doing this, shut down. Right, because we need the actual energy usage. But on the back end, though, it's so to bring this big word salad here to a climax here. I think it depends on two things. If he's really serious about this, and if his family's really serious about this, they're going to have to show where they're at, because we all need to know, right? Like, as the American people. That's one. Two, if it does happen, he's going to need Democratic support, and he's going to have to get a bipartisan support on both parties that are going to sit there and say, you know what, we see where you're headed, you're now the president, okay, let's do this. So it all depends on those two things, and who's going to fade it, right? What countries? Instead of seeing Jeets fading it, countries are going to cheat it, right?
That would be epic.
There's going
what
to
happened today? China cheated.
China cheated, right? Because America started buying, and they bought in at the low point of, they've been buying since 3,000, 4,000, 6,000. We've seen them fighting with them banning back and forth. 10, 15 times already, where they're like, no, this is not good.
Sorry, I thought you.
No, that's it.
Pedro and I have got a slight delay here that's causing me to interrupt him more than usual here.
You're good, man. You're good. And
Anton brings up a good point. No matter who wins, regulations will dominate the narrative afterwards between the two political parties. You're correct. You're correct on that. And I have my little opinion piece that I will put out in another episode someday. But this is the overview of it. Is that you youngsters now, for some reason, and I mean like anyone under the age of 39, 37, and you can see this on LinkedIn and other places, they default now to saying that we need regulation before we can do anything else, almost in every industry. It's like they grew up with the government programming them saying you can't do anything until we tell you the rules to do it. When for all of mankind before that, in free countries, it was just do whatever you want until there's a problem, and then we'll come in and tweak the market a little. And now it's different. It's like, you can't do anything, and we don't want to do anything. We don't want to do anything because we'll piss the government off until there's regulation and everything has been authorized and clearly legal. And one of the reasons is that the governments have grown too large and have too many policy people writing and just all this type of stuff. And two, it's that they've done stupid things like regulation by enforcement, which has scared the crap out of people. It's like, wait a minute. Before this was fine, and now you're saying it's not. And you're trying to make us criminals?
Yeah.
I mean, in the U.S., we have this thing called ex post facto law, which you can't in arrears make someone a criminal by passing a new law based on old behavior. That's from old English law. Can't do that. But that's not the case in the civil side of law. In the civil side of law, there it's kind of like whatever the jury decides. And the jury has been deciding that some things, or companies have been not risking a jury decision in settling with the SEC before it goes to trial, or the SEC is just coming out and winning like they did with a couple of cases. Obviously, they've lost a bunch, but there's a lot. Every day, there's a new settlement from the SEC and a crypto company on their website. And so I'm just complaining about how you youngsters need to fight back and say, no, we don't need everything to be regulated all the time. I realize everything in your life is regulated now. I mean, from your clothes to your sunglasses to this microphone. I mean, everything is regulated. But that's my little Tom's tangent on that topic.
Here's the thing. I want to bring this up because it's super important to look at. Look, I remember when we could run out and drag our legs at the back side of the truck, right? You
sit on the back of the pickup truck.
Yeah, and I mean, no kid under probably the age of 15 even knows what I'm talking about.
15 under 30.
Yeah, it's just, well, I've heard some 30-year-olds say, dude, I was out in the sticks with my grandpa. We used to do that all the time, dude. Right? But I'm talking about now my generation, right? Like, we're just like, yeah, I don't know. I don't want to deal with the next door neighbor yelling at me or whatever. So I'm not going to do this with my kid, right? Because there's
Alpha Wolf, thanks for joining us.
Absolutely. I think it's interesting to look at this idea of, I was on, not Grant Cardone, his brother, what's his brother's name? Oh, I forget his name. If anybody knows, I'd appreciate it if you guys could just put that.
Jerry Molinari says Gen X in the house.
Gen X, and yeah, absolutely.
Regulation, accepting government control.
Yeah,
that's why CBDCs will eventually go through, because the younger generation will grow up and be like, well, the government has to control these things.
Nah, I rebuke that. I'm going to believe that this generation, because Generation Z.
You're looking for Gary.
Gary, thank you. That's exactly Gary Cardano. So I actually went on his show, and they were saying that we need to govern this, and there needs to be. And I jumped on and I said, no, there's no way we need to govern this. And the reason why is sooner or later there will be communities, like there's always been, that step in, and the community handles this. And then there will be a governance section. There will be a governance out of that community, i.e. The American society that got pissed off in 1776 and basically threw off the government attack on them actually creating new industry, right? And so in the new world, and in the same sense, I said there became a governance that came from that. And in the same sense, we'll see the same thing. We just got to keep progressing. And he's like, no, you're wrong, dude. And he even got mad. He's like, listen, I know who you are, but you're popping up a little too much here. And he's like, you need to slow your roll. And I said, man, you trying to push this stuff, this narrative that I totally disagree with. And the truth is I see that you've kind of thought this through, but not fully. And I think
called him right out.
Yeah, he obviously banned me, silenced me, but whatever, but at least I got it out. It was funny is I was actually on the Quiff's thing that they have going on. I think they're going now on like, I guess the last, because they had to restart it, 24-hour period of a over on Shogun stuff. And one of the girls, it was very funny. She's like, I remember you. And I was like, how do you know me? What are you talking about? And she goes, at Cardano or Cardone. And I was like, oh, yes, I remember. Okay. and so she must have been in there as I kind of chastised Cardano or Gary Cardone. Why is that so hard for me to say? Gary Cardone saying, dude, we don't need the government. We just need a governing system that steps in that helps govern it from a community standpoint. We've always had. Right.
And in most industries, the industry regulates itself.
Yeah, look at the
banking industry. Yeah. Everyone thinks the government controls the banking industry. No, the American Banking Association controls the banking industry in the U.S. And they set the rules. They have, and not only that, but the government recognizes their rules as the standard.
Absolutely.
When they screw up, the government steps in and screws up things further. But that's when they feel that they need to step in. And in most industries, it's like that. But now people are growing up saying, hey, the government's got to, and even, lawyers are coming out of school now saying, well, let's sue the government ahead of time.
Absolutely.
In order to get a ruling to force them into making a rule on this. Mm-hmm. And yet, in paper that sounds like a good thing, but hey, how about start up an industry association first? Show the government you're regulating it. They won't even care.
Shocking.
Yeah.
What? Who would think of that?
Derek B, welcome to the show. Pedro and I are going on and on about the
pontificating,
regulation, all this type of stuff. Pedro was talking about one of the longest spaces going on in X history over for the KWIF people, Shogun and Ghost and those guys. I think they're going on a little too long because the price of KWIF has now come down to we're losing our shirts.
It's well, you know what? I'll put it like this. I've heard him definitely say I'm gonna keep this. I'm gonna keep this going. I'm gonna keep pushing it. The fact is there is some notoriety getting it going. It's starting to pick up. So we do always see this, right, with major coins. If you look at Shiba, look at these other ones. They went up, they shoot down, they consolidate for about maybe like 3-4 weeks, and then all of a sudden they go to $1 million. So, or they could bottom out, but I don't think so because there's a real
zero. Look, apparently you had a little experience with something going to zero recently, Pedro, didn't you?
I did. Unfortunately, I got into another little degen play, and it kind of just dropped on me. I was like, darn you, mofo, dude, what's up with you, man?
As much as we talk about meme coins and degen and all that, my friend Pedro here is not a true degen.
No.
Because he has not spent 2, 3, 4 a.m. nights pulling out his hair watching another project that for sure was going to the moon. Go directly to zero.
No, I'm at 2 o'clock,
all
3
of
o'clock.
us have in this comment box.
I can't handle this.
Watch something go to zero.
Yeah.
We were sure that this was 1,000xer. Our $10 was going to be 10 grand in 5 minutes, no problem.
No problem.
And really, it turns out to be what? Zero.
Zero.
Pedro experienced that yesterday for the first time, so he's part of the actual club now. Everyone give him a hand.
Yay! Round of applause.
Hey, Jesus, I saw your regulators comment mount up. That was one of my favorite movies.
All right, so jumping back here, we will jump back here to this comment here, but I actually want to go over some stuff here real quick. So let's check out KWIF. In regards to that. I really do think that though that community is definitely pushing hard, and there's a dope narrative there. And one thing about that we know within any type of meme coin, the narrative is what runs the token. So that's what I think. That's why I look at this. I'm like, this is a good play just because of the narrative, and seeing that there's definitely more community coming around it, more community as it's growing. And even though it's going down, it's just almost like a Shiba Inu kind of effect that you saw them as it started to progress. And even though it was kind of going down, you saw the community still coming together and building and building. So that's why I'm like, I don't think it's out. I still don't think it's cutting out, right? So we'll see what's up. So jumping back from that to let's check out another chart here real quick. I heard that Litecoin. Some stuff.
Someone yesterday asked about Litecoin. I can't remember who it was, and we didn't get, or not. 2 days ago, we didn't get to it.
We did not. So I heard some stuff that is popping off with Litecoin. So I want to talk about that here real quick as well. So it is putting in higher highs and higher lows, which has been really interesting. So we came down into our area, which was sitting right here, right? I thought it was going to come lower because I really wanted that $40 mark area, right? And I said, all right, guys, kind of wait up and we should see. But look, we've seen it now kind of hit. Right, higher.
That's what I get when I don't proofread something. I've got light corn up in the box instead of
there we go.
Coin.
Here we go. Litecoin. Everybody needs some corn.
Texas sweet light corn.
Oh, I love me some Litecoin, bro. That sweet Litecoin. Yeah, baby. So anyways, let's go ahead and go over here real quick. So we have the low here, right? Oh, there it goes. We have that low here. Now we're having lower high, or excuse me, higher low here. We saw the lower high, higher high. Come on. Oh, how did I do that?
Apparently the Litecoin, everyone's gonna now. There's gonna be a pump.fund contract out any second now. Litecoin.
Right.
Yeah. Would that be dope? Jesus already asked, what's up contract for Litecoin?
Dude, I have to admit, do you know that sooner or later we're going to become those guys, and when we make mistakes like that, they're just going to be just massive. I would love that. I'd be like
Cardano
or whatever mess ups I make, right? All of a sudden, it just starts becoming just these Trolls. Listen, I love trolls, man. I mean, let them troll away, dude. I enjoy it. As long as they're not attacking other people, right? Like, I don't like that, but I have no problem.
While you're drawing that, I'm just going to bring up my screen real quick to show the Bitcoin article, bitcoin.com article.
Oh, thank you,
Pedro.
Thank you.
Here, if you can see it, it says a meme coin gem from the trenches. And if you go to it, it says a bunch of treasure hunters inspired by the film Goonies and their own quest and adventure uncovered a blockchain treasure called K-Whiff, Kitten Whiff Hat. What does that mean? Settle in for an exciting, still breaking story brought to you by Pedro Garcia, crypto chart analyst for DYOR Media, ladies and gentlemen, right there on bitcoin.com. How about that? Crypto Twitter is comprised of many smaller communities. One trait they all have is the work ethic. They share it. Members are constantly grinding in the trenches, whether you're talking about the developers creating better tech, the traders fighting the order books, or the marketers getting their messages out. They're all working hard to put the entire space forward. Pedro goes on to talk about, I spoke with Vibes, an enthusiastic blockchain sleuth who said, I love treasure hunts, I love puzzles, breadcrumbs, moving step to step, step by step, something new. Her dedication is apparent. When we spoke, she had been awake for more than 60 hours after discovering K-Whiff and was still brimming with energy. Good job, Pedro, getting K-Whiff on there. And
well, here's the thing. I also want to bring
we all thought that article was going to come out and it was going to super pump. And the price actually went down from the time the article came out. The old buy the rumor, sell the news trick.
Yeah, so the other part behind it as well is this. I'm going to point this out here. So David at bitcoin.com, he definitely was one who really wrote it. I was the one who was just bringing people together and getting it going. It's kind of like my first editorial in a sense, right? And whereas I was more editorial, he was the one who wrote it. I want to give proper due to where due is there, but I definitely brought it up and running. I definitely brought it in and kind of got things up and running, got it going, and then saw things that needed to happen. I think that needed to kind of come together to get it going. But he was the one who really wrote it per se, right? But I gave him the narrative and what I wanted to look like and got it going. So, and he did a great job. And he actually put his name on that I was, or excuse me, he put my name on it, and I was just like, bro, that was your writing. Like, thank you for really.
Pedro, you got to take the credit where the credit's due. You brought the whole thing to him. That's how stories work.
Okay. Well,
the editors don't put their names on the articles. The reporters put their names on the articles.
Okay, fair enough. But I still appreciate the fact that he went over and he did that. And so I'll take credit where credit is due, where what I did. Go. Thank you, Tom, for actually bringing that up. I do appreciate that. But I will be probably writing more articles and making things happen over there. They're going to be giving me, I think, a little bit of a optic corner where I'm going to be able to just kind of talk about the market, trading, things, what I'm looking at, potential like large cap, small cap, degenning, things just to be paying attention to and kind of take part in. So it's going to be real fun to start to be a part of that.
Yeah, welcome everyone joining us on X and Rumble. I just saw the numbers pop over there. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you,
as usual. Took a few minutes to get us on the Rumble crypto main page showing that we were live. And that had results.
There we go.
Well, it had results. I saw it go up to 7 and then it immediately went back to 2. So we weren't as entertaining as we thought.
Sometimes the way it works, man. But we appreciate
all right, let's finish up Litecoin.
Okay, let's check out Litecoin over here. So when it comes down to it, I'm expecting to see this thing start to pump. Okay, we're already above the 8. Excuse me, not 8. Why am I forgetting what that's called? We're above the 8 on the weekly here, and we're starting to see it really start to kind of find support at this level here, and it's starting to push up. We came down for this week, and I'm expecting to see we're at this end to see it start to kind of climb them here. So we potentially could come back up and tap that 78 to 77 mark area. So you could take part of that profit on the daily. You can see here that on the daily, we kind of came down for the week and we potentially could be pushing up here. There's not much resistance here from this level up to that 76 area here. So potentially you can see it go higher from that level. And then on a meta narrative, as we're looking at Litecoin, it's still got to push above the 79. We still got a little resistance here, but if we can see on a monthly chart, because we're coming up to the end of the month here, right? Next week will be in the month. If we can see this thing really start to take wings here and we get above that 8 and that 20 on the monthly chart, expect to see this thing really get going and getting some wings out here. It should blow through, if we can see it on a monthly chart, blow through that 108 and 99 resistant level here, and so potentially tapping even up to potential 113 to the 134 area if it does capture some wings here. But it all depends on what we're going to see by the end of this week. So looking forward to seeing what's going to happen with Litecoin. All right, my friend. Whoop, whoop, finishing it up. Whoop. Whoop, whoop. Is Mr. Alexander here?
He won't be here till the bottom of the hour. Till he's got
Gotcha.
a previous engagement until 1:30 Eastern time. Then he'll pop over here and join us.
I also want to kind of jump back to the narrative of Kamala and what she's actually doing. So the fact is that, and everybody here knows me on my show, that I'm abhor. I do not like XRP with what they're doing and some of the stuff. And I know, like Zach Humphreys, we've talked about this, and he's all in on XRP, right? Like his bag, he's got a big bag of XRP. But I can't get behind the idea that, they do work too much with the institutions to really kind of, I feel like, enslave the world and America, because through
exactly,
like, if you're basically frenemies, but I just can't, it's like, and the fact is that Kamala is made it pretty clear that she doesn't understand it, and instead of clarifying, right, the support going behind self-custody, we can see that XRP has definitely endorsed her. I think altogether they've given her 11 million, the CEO, like
one of the founders, the CEO Brad Garlinghouse, has spent money all over the political spectrum, Republican and Democratic side. He's ensuring no matter what they get their chance. But it seems like with Trump and many of the Republicans talking about no, and even to like Florida did, and another state passed a thing saying no CBDCs here at all.
Yeah.
Which really doesn't matter if the federal government passes a law saying you have to do it, and the Florida law doesn't matter.
It's like the idea
but they can still, Florida can still say, well, none of it's good for tax payments or that type of stuff. You can just bring piles of Litecoin instead.
What's even interesting is that if we start to see something of that nature, this is really going to bring a split between many of those, when I say free states, because what I mean is that we all know, many of us here know, and if the people who don't know that are new to crypto here, what a CBD system does is it basically encapsulates every spending mechanism, and the government can actually go through and know exactly what you're doing. And the part about it that I don't like is that if you do something at a point where they do not like, they can sit there and see it and immediately shut you off. And now all of a sudden you're unbanked.
Right.
And that's the part that's so scary. And one of the things that we saw our founding fathers do is they fought against central banks. We saw them go through. I mean, Andrew Jackson straight up almost didn't he have a gunfight with these guys? I mean, it was.
Yeah, well, there's always a common misperception that, like Jackson had, that the bank was inherently evil and that they were ceding control to someone else. When much of the financial people understood that the government would just screw it up, and that having a central bank that's not directly controlled by the government is a nice firewall towards screwing things up.
And that was good. I think that
I can see that. I can also see the government wanting tighter control of monetary policy and things like that. But when it was 13 colonies or 14, and there's only about 600,000 people, that's one thing. But when there's 350 million people and, quadrillions of dollars in derivatives floating around, I kind of think you need someone other than policy writers in Washington, D.C. In the case, for those of you that don't listen to our show that much, policy writers in Washington, D.C. are devil people, right?
Devil.
Right, because you ask them, you're like, oh, you wrote a new policy, great. How many did you remove? You have to, if you're going to write one, you have to remove two. And they're like, well, no, you just keep adding policies. And you're like, no, that's not how life works. Until we all wear bubble wrap everywhere and our spoon-fed baby food, No,
it is going to come to that, and then we're all going to have soft jaws and look like like.
Have you ever seen the kids movie Wall-E, where the Earth is super contaminated, and there's just a little robot cleaning it up, and then the people all live on a spaceship, and they're all these fat blobs that get moved around in chairs and are spoon-fed. That's where we're going.
That's literally what almost they want. Here's the thing I was actually talking with somebody yesterday. Again, I want to bring this back to Kamala.
Jesus says, right? I fought for your sins, my sons. You're welcome.
Bro.
And what good did it do you? You fought for everyone's sins, and you wound up a car dealer
for freedom. For freedom. Right. For freedom's sake, so that we could actually
wound up in
free
Sucker-Free City looking at the Nissan 370s. Hey, I saw a Datsun 280Z or the 270 or 250Z the other day, not restored at all, but running, and I was like, that's an old Datsun Z.
Oh, by the way, shout out to Jeff Ledger. Glad to have you again, brother. Pleasure that you came in.
Oh, yes, I saw that. We have not seen the song. We have not heard the Genu song. Where can we find it, Jeff?
Yeah.
We'll play it.
Yeah, I want to hear it, dude. And we should be able to hear it, I think, on Spotify. Send us the link and put it in the Telegram, and we'll play. It'll be fun. So shout out to Jeff. That was dope. These guys over at Genu many of them are artists. And so they go through and they just straight crank out like songs and have a good time. So I love bluegrass. I think it's bomb. I like that old sound. That guy who was talking about Richmond in Richmond. I love that song. First time I heard it, I said, this dude. And then literally the Democrats who he's speaking about, it makes it very clear on like the Joe Rogan show and a couple other places that he's just like, yo, I'm not talking about just the Democrats. I'm talking about the Republicans and the Democrats, all of them. They're all just scammers, bro, and they don't care. And I just thought to myself, I was like, man, and dude, that song rang so hard. But I love that twang, and along with that special guitar, man. I forget what they call that.
Steel guitar?
Huh?
The one that you play on your knees, the slide guitar?
No, he played the one that was like the round one, and it has like that like the metallic twang sound. You know what I'm talking about? Richmond.
Where's Troublesome Creek when you need it? And Derek's
banjo.
Gotta be out here too.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That's what's up. Yeah, it was the banjo. Thank you. Yeah, dude, it's Guitar Hero. Guitar Hero. Oh, Jesus.
Guitar Hero.
But yeah, I love that sound, man. It's such a good sound. It really is.
All right, Pedro, I'm going to switch over here to before Chris comes on to talk about a little bit about the swamp creatures, because a funny thing happened. This is Justin Wallin. For those of you who don't know, he's a member of the DYOR partnership here, bringing the our latest podcast here called the Crypto Swamp Creatures to the show, or to the channel. He's a pollster and conducting polls for presidents and all this types of stuff. He's a wonk type person, but very well educated and schooled and wise to the world. He used to build sailboats too, so he's knows how things are made. Well-rounded individual. However, he has a penchant for trying to have a haircut that is perhaps a little younger than he is. And so and we've all noticed this. We've all noticed this. And so the other day he was on Fox News talking about it, talking about polls and all that. And
Justin.
And he got this in the mail. Like someone went and found his company and went to the contact form and said, email subject hair message. don't let your hair look like a bird's nest again. You don't need that look. It's a random thing. So in my back channel talk with the swamp creatures, I actually we all laughed and all this type of stuff, and I was like, yeah, so I'm a man of graphics. I know how to do these things. So I had to create. I had to create the bird nesting on his hair.
Good. Oh man, that is so good.
I know, and it gets better, and this is why I like this group.
Oh my goodness.
With Chris and Justin.
Yeah.
Because anyone that can
Freedom Nest.
No, but here Justin tweeted it out saying, "Can't say I disagree," and he tweeted it out himself. The picture I made of the bird nesting on his hair, and so a little self-deprecating humor goes a long way. Always. And really enjoyed it. Just if you're watching, the random news, Pedro, just watching along, watching, and you see something.
And here's the thing I want to point out. You keep showing the Fox News, but he's been on, you need to have 3 of those, where he's like on CNN, ABC, CNBC, and Fox. Like something where you can see that
he's
been on multiple.
News Nation. And in fact, they just sent me a bunch of other pictures, so I'm going to, and links. I'm going to create a promo. But he's a neutral, a nonpartisan pollster.
Yeah.
But just being one of the crew here, because I use self-deprecating humor a lot here. It works
all the time.
Pedro has an occasion also as well, and we both talk about our limitations, either from humor or skill. And Justin came right out and just said, "Well, you're right. My hair looks like a bird's nest," and that was that.
But it was good. I love it. Dude, it's so good, man. He's a good guy. Like I love listening to him, man. It's so good, dude.
Yeah, and we'll have another. I was trying to get it programmed for today, but it's not gonna come out. I'll probably have it programmed for. There's 2 more on the roll here. Both of them 20 minutes long. No more of these 10-minute ones coming out. So hopefully I'll have another episode of the Crypto Swamp Creatures tomorrow, and then one for Monday morning or something like that. Speaking of, where is Mr. Crypto Swamp Creature?
He'll be here. Yeah, he'll get there. Okay, so I want to bring up. Side note. I want to go into this because this was going to be something. So yesterday, our position here got hit by right here, the monthly chart here on Tron here. So you can see we hit it, we bounced up. So I don't know who took part in this trade. Hope you guys made some cash here.
Tron?
Yep. Oh, sorry. Why do I keep doing that? Ton. Dear Lord, forgive me.
Not right. TRX.
No, TON. 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 So we're coming into this area here. Hopefully somebody took, again, a part of profit here as it pushed up. If this thing does push through here, okay, then I'm expecting to see us come down and attach that 442 area.
Freedom Nest.
Yeah, I know. I saw that. I was like, you talk about epic. And look at Anton. Do you think that the government will be able to ghost all of their transactions on all blockchains and chains? It's for national security purposes. Yes, I totally think that they're going to do that. I think they're going to be the autonomous overlord. And I very much think that. It's very true, Anton. Thank you for that. Thanks for listening, man. I appreciate you so much. You're amazing. You're always great support for us. On the back end here, as Ton starts to come down here, this level here of that 446 is good. What are you laughing about, dude? You're giggling, dude. What's up? What does he say? Wait, let me see. Like an old girlfriend by the Ton. Oh, you're killing me, dude. Oh, good times. All right. Okay. Focus. Let's focus here. Come on. We're a bunch of adults here. Come on. Focus here. AVAX is coming down to the area here. Again, I am still super bullish here for these guys. So what they have going
Chris,
on.
I see you in the background.
I want to see it come down to this lower level so I can get in, kind of pick up some more that I'm looking to pick up. Shiba Inu, Shiba came in, bounced off this week of our area here. You can see how now it's continuing down. I'm kind of sad. I thought this was going to find some legs and see it push up. But unfortunately, it is starting to come down here. So we got to look at that weekly chart and see what it did bounce off of. And you can see it came off of that 50 period. And now it's going to find some legs here. But I thought we were going to continue up here. So I was a little bit off on this. Obviously, we hit the supply area. I did talk about it coming down. I thought we were going to push through that supply and then see it come back down even, or push through the supply and find support on here. You can see we've kind of, again, found supply, sellers, excuse me, and come down to this lower level right in here. So all depends on what's going to happen. It'll probably come down to that 50 period moving average, which is the 0.41622 area. So excellent timing, my friend. Good timing.
Chuck says Litecoin, the brightest meme coin in the blockchain universe, powered by fun, driven by Infineon. Look, they're laying claim to it already.
There we go, dude. Already, dude. Dude, I'm waiting for it, dude. I mean, right now I found out you can actually go and throw something on Pump Fund or any of these other companies out there and get it going easily.
It takes 5 seconds. It literally takes, what's Pump Fund now, 2 sol?
Yeah.
To do it?
Yeah. It's so easy. No, dude. It's like $2 to create a coin.
Or it's 0.2 sol or whatever it is. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, it's
anyway, ladies
and
gentlemen,
$2.
we've been talking long enough today here amongst ourselves here. We needed more entertainment on the show, and so that obviously means we need to bring in a crypto swamp creature to keep us all going here in high spirits. And so, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, crypto swamp creature Chris Alexander. Oh, I didn't have his thing right. Damn it.
Jazz hands.
Sorry, Pedro. You get.
That's not.
I'll fix you here.
I think I got kicked out. He's like, get out of here. Darn Mexicans, go back.
Up there too.
There is a magical phenomenon that occurs. Whatever point I get into the waiting room, Pedro is talking about a cryptocurrency that I own. And to be clear, I don't own that many. I think I own like 10. I have a basket. I'm not a Bitcoin maxi, so feel free to tell me how terrible I am. But yeah, I bought a very large sum of Avalanche on accident. Whoa, you know that button on Coinbase, buy all? It's like kind of strangely close to the just put the amount. I wasn't paying attention. Hey, stop chewing that cat. I bought all, and I had quite a few USDT to convert.
No.
He bought it all.
And then I was like, what's that song? Jesus Take the Wheel. I was like, let's do it. So,
bro, you talk about fun times. And when you look down, you're like, wait, what? What just happened?
Yeah. Well, I was like, oh my God. I mean, it was, tens of thousands of US dollars. I'm like, oh my God, there's been a scam. My USDC's gone. I'm like, why do I have 50 billion Avalanche? Actually, it was like at 30, it wasn't that much, but I'm like, what just, and then I'm like, and then I thought, do I change it back? And I'm like, dude, I'm going to pay like $1,000 to change it back. And I was like, no, let it ride. What the hell?
Let it ride. Where did you get in on it? How long ago was it? So I can sit there and see if
like a year.
In the green?
A
year. Ooh.
2 years ago, year and a half.
Wow, dude, that's nice, man. Heck yeah. So you got it down in this nice area.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah. I mean, I was slowly buying it, and then I accidentally stopped slowly buying it.
Ooh, so when it went all the way to all up in this level here, what is that? You did.
I can't. You don't have your chart up, Pedro. We're looking at just our mugs here.
Okay, well,
I was temporarily rich.
10x. It looks like you had about a 10x, 5 to 10x there.
I did.
Nice.
Right before you came on, Mr. Washington Bureau Chief, we were going over Justin's freedom nest hair.
Oh yeah. He attracts some hate. It's great.
Someone went out of their way to go find his own company, go to the contact thing, and complain. Yeah,
and it's happened twice. He also had to wear a hat for a while, had a hair problem. And someone took the time to lecture. I was like, you look very professional while you're wearing a hat. And naturally, when he told me about it, I said, did you respond and tell him that you're getting radiation treatments and how dare he? Because that's the best answer. It's not true, so we're clear in his case, but And he was like, yeah, no kidding.
I was like, I didn't know that.
Dang, I would have been like,
I mean, define that, right? I mean, we're in the land of that. Like, well, I'm being irradiated right now by this screen.
yeah, literally. Well, it's interesting. Go ahead.
Wait, hold on, Pedro. We don't have a lot of time here, and I'm sure we're gonna have a good conversation here. Before we start talking about Washington D.C. stuff, Chris, give us an overview of how the swamp creature stuff has been going, and what's coming next before the election. Yeah,
I mean, we have I would say tens of fans, so we're excited.
Whoop, whoop.
We did have we had former Attorney General Ken Cuccinelli on, and we get to talk with Paul Michael, who's got a very interesting sort of Uber for blockchain. We've got a few more people lined up. There's a guy who's like doing this wild solar powered Bitcoin mining or something, but he actually can make it work, or renewables. And he's like super, like I think he hates everyone. So we're like super excited to get him on. And he's like, I don't know, I have really like contentious ideas. I'm like, look, we just want to hear what people have to say. Like, just don't like threaten to kill people like during the show, and we're good. So we've got him lined up, and a few others. So we got an immersion cooling expert coming on, and so we're trying to talk to a diverse group of people, and maybe we nab somebody from a Pubco at some point, policy guy. And obviously the election's coming. We were kind of hoping to do an election extravaganza, but I'm flying because I'm actually moving on election day. So maybe I can see the fires from the riots, depending on who wins from the airplane, as I fly over the country. But
it sounds like you're moving cities.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Moving to Dallas. So
that's a big change.
Yeah.
Welcome to the land of no public transportation and exorbitant heat.
Yeah. I lived overseas or in DC since I went to Iraq in 2003. So, so we don't get to do that. Although maybe you guys are on, and Brother Wallin can come on, who's the better guy on election night, anyways, and maybe I'll be able to join in and out. But midterms we'll do that. It's getting really, really interesting. And there's a great article, I don't normally say this, in the New York Times, I think. And it's talking about Nate Silver. And I really started to like Nate Silver just because everyone hates him. Because he says Republicans win, and then the Republicans like him, and then he says Democrats are going to win, and then either side hates him. So generally, if everybody hates somebody, except maybe Hitler, I'm generally like, hey, I'm for this. And but the article was really interesting because he said, I kind of mapped out a few things, and he's a pretty good prognosticator. And he said, I think in my gut Trump's going to win, but it's really close. And he pointed out, so it's like when what was it like with Madden football when they predict the Super Bowl winner, like they play it like 100 times and they see who wins, right, based on the odds. Like you run the election 100 times and maybe Trump wins 51 out of 49 right now. And that's it.
Welcome to the show, Sven. Thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it. But Chris, I did want to say that we've been enjoying, of all your tens of viewers, we've been enjoying this great success, much success, as Borat would say. Or is that what he says?
Yeah.
Much success. But some of the comments here on the old comment screen, in talking about one particular person running for government, for president. Awful woman, unqualified and unelectable. That was the comment left on one of the shows. In another one, this show has potential. Bill O'Reilly is the closest thing to no spin news now, if you can believe it. Crazy, but great show. Referring to
Bill O'Reilly. Man, I haven't heard that in, what is that, 10 years after he got in trouble from the porn star chick?
Did I plant a seed there? Because we have jokingly said you're about to enter the no swamp zone from time to time.
Ooh.
And,
yeah, you're right. That was his. That was one of his lines.
Maybe we got our tenterhooks into that. But I appreciate it. By the way, what really is, all kidding aside, like people we don't know like it, and
good time.
and have genuinely seem to enjoy it, and aren't bots. They're not females that send you messages saying how are your trades going, and So that's
What
really.
do you mean those aren't real?
I mean, I don't know. They're not. They're just all remarkably similar.
Very similar.
By the way, what I do now when I get those, and some of them, I don't know if they're more sophisticated bots or they're people that just start that way. I make them go watch the show. And then when they come back, I'm like, did you watch it? And then, of course, they say, yes, I know they're lying. I'm like, what was your favorite part? Which episode? And either the bot can't answer that or the human goes away. So I actually use our show to repulse people. But yeah, no, it's really encouraging. I mean, it's a game of inches. So we like doing it, and we'll keep at it, and we hope people enjoy it, and we're open to criticism. And now we have Photoshop pictures of Justin Wallin's head and pictures of me. And I guess I always wondered, what did I look like when I rolled into a room in Iraq? And I guess now I know. I guess I do look kind of intimidating. It's news to me, but I was looking at a picture where it was a freeze frame, and I'm like, wow.
But back then you had this giant piece of iron you were carrying around too.
Yeah,
and
you're probably
different than a
little yoked up now. I mean, you're probably a little bit more yoked up.
Well, I'm a lot friendlier.
This is going to lead to bad,
as you can see.
Places.
And by the way, for Maricopa County accounting, I worked on the DC Board of Elections as a contractor, as a communications advisor during the first COVID year when they had to vote by mail. And I'll tell you, the opportunity for fraud, they're relatively well run. Yes, you're going to find examples of all kinds of cheating. Both sides cheat, thank God. That's how it's supposed to work. But they're the DC Board of Elections is relatively well run. And there aren't as many opportunities for fraud as you might think, because they've been doing it for so long. There's a lot of good procedures. Yes, maybe not with the electronic voting machines, but I wouldn't be as worried about that as some people are. And we have this problem, which they should be able to legislate and fix. I don't know why. I guess I never got to ask the question. Like for Maricopa County, you have all these absentee voters, and they don't start counting. And I don't know if it's in every case or most cases. They don't count the absentee ballots until they get until election night or election day when they're authorized to start counting. And now so many people vote by mail; they're all backed up.
Oh wow!
Right.
And so
it used to be such a small percentage that it used to be a far less percentage than the difference in the vote. So if the vote, oops, sorry, Pedro, wrong button there. So if
now his chart gets on.
Yeah. So in the past, they'd be like, well, the other guy won by 600,000 votes here, and we have 30,000 mail-ins. They wouldn't even count them. He's like, screw it.
Absolutely.
But now it's a big difference, because everybody does.
Yeah. And so I understand people's. I presume it's resources, right? You'd have to you'd have to start the counting process early. Remember when they were eating the hanging chads down in Florida because I guess they were so starved they had to, and it just all the things that happened. And I am reminded Giuliani when he was a little less wild.
Crazy.
Yeah. Why I said wild? He's a lawyer. Or he was. Did he just borrow him? Whatever.
Yeah, they did.
He's been disbarred.
Yeah.
I watched him do an interview like 20 years ago, and they were saying, aren't you? It was I'm pretty sure it was Fox, and they're like, well, aren't you upset about the instances of voter fraud in urban areas? And Giuliani said, well, yeah, but listen, you can't cheat in rural areas, right? You can cheat in urban areas. And listen, we'd be cheating if we had control of urban areas, but we don't. And he was just totally matter of fact. And
that's awesome.
His line about that, and then the time that I read Marion Barry, the mayor of DC, who got arrested, his description of how corruption was actually a public service, and I was starting to get persuaded by it. Those were the two times where I've watched politicians and I thought, wow, that guy's good.
I saw the Giuliani. Well, I heard the Giuliani phone call when he's talking to the guys in Arizona, and he's talking about the fraud and all that, and the election, the fraud. So you guys obviously have heard you can't certify the electors and they're like, let me rephrase that. He's saying the narrative of fraud needs to continue, so you can't certify the electors. And then the guy says, yeah, but was there fraud? And Giuliani goes, well, no, but it's a good narrative, and we have to push that narrative.
Yeah. I'm sorry. What's that have to do?
That there's no fraud.
Yeah, but what does truth have to do with this?
Yeah, that's politics.
And still to this day, everyone's like, oh no, Giuliani was in on fraud and this kind of stuff. He's like, no, he admitted.
No, he's trying to win.
No fraud.
I'll tell you, I worked on this IARPA technology, and they spun it out for commercial use. And we went to, I won't use the acronym, but we basically went to the Republican Senatorial Committee. We went to the Democratic Senatorial Committee. We went to it's called the DCCC, the Democrats Congressional. I don't know if we got to talk to the Republican Congressional, and we talked to the Governors Associations, both sides of the aisle. We were bipartisan. And the Republicans were like, oh, I don't know about the rules on this. Like how can we pay for this? How can this analytical capability be deployed after they learned about it and expressed some interest? And they were very concerned about the rules. And it was very interesting seeing the difference, because I went to the Democrats, and the Democrats were like, they will pay the fine. Like, no one's getting hurt. They're like, we're not getting into prison over this, right? And they were much more cavalier about it. They're like, what's we pay lawyers for? Like, we'll get through it. And I think it's politics. Like, first of all, if you want moral leadership, honesty, respectability, and you're looking to politicians to do it, like, I don't know what's wrong with you. I mean, the founding fathers were very clear on this. They're like, these are the lowest forms of life on earth, and we're going to create a system where all these weasels are eating at each other all the time, so nobody becomes too powerful. Like, I mean, they're pretty clear on that. Thank you, Crypto Mel Gibson. You are.
Cost of doing business.
Now,
am I right?
Now, I hate to say this, no one's smarter than someone who agrees with you, but I do think you're right.
One of the best pandering comments that I've heard to date. No one's smarter than someone that agrees.
Yeah, I learned it from a staff officer in my unit, and he did one other funny thing. He had this briefing, and he said, this is like full-scale taperigic, da-da-da-da-da-da. I'm looking at it, taperigic. And then someone he was showing us what he was out briefing other, doesn't matter. But we were all junior people, and someone said, hey, sir, what's taperigic? And he goes, oh, strategic, operational, and tactical all combined together. I made it up. and he just says it like it's a toy, and I'm like, we're like, but sir, like, why did you make that up? Like, why would you do that? And he goes, oh, if no one asks me what taperigic means, I know that this is just a performative brief, and I go really fast and I leave.
Brilliant.
If someone stops and says, wait a minute, I don't understand what that is. Could you explain that? Like,
then he knows they care, and then he's like, oh, this is a real meeting. They're not just doing this because they have to, because they hated our unit.
I hated our unit.
Well, I mean,
in the army hated our unit, their own unit. Most of them hated it.
Well, I mean, I'll put it like this. I mean, whenever you see, I have a few friends of mine that are very much well-to-do guys in the military and stuff like that, right? And it was very interesting. They're very much like your personality in a sense, where they're almost like this contrarian maxi, right? Yeah. And it's just like this idea of like, all right, I may agree with you, but I'm going to see if you really know what you're talking about. And then all of a sudden they just start bang. I mean, they start chopping you down before you know, you're like, dude, why are you being a dick to me? Right? You're like, I just really want to see how smart you are. And
yeah,
it's
like, personal.
Yeah, don't take it personal. This actually means I like you. So if you can handle this, then you're in the club. You know, it's almost like.
You're totally right. I went to Special Operations Forces Information Operations Planners course, SOF-IOPIC, where we learned how to plan for PSYOP, cyber, bunch of junk. Anyways, most of the course was we'd be given a problem, and then we'd have to write up a plan. And then we would stand up there in front of someone who'd been doing this. I mean, you can't start till you're like 12 years in, but had been doing this, they're like retired colonels, 25 years. They've been doing the same job for like 12 years. And so we're like, here are our facts, here are our assumptions, here's our end state. And they're like, is that really a fact? You sure it's not an assumption? Because they've been doing, and they would just tear us apart,
Eat you.
And I was like, man, this is rough, man. This kind of sucks. But then in Iraq, I was on the staff at CJTF 7 under General Sanchez, and then I think whatever, Petraeus, different folks ruled in. But you would do these briefings, and it's something of a tradition. These generals, like you get up there and you don't know the answer to something, you're in trouble. You get up there and you say something and you have no idea what you're talking about. They're literally screaming at these guys.
It's like
brutal.
Yeah.
Absolutely brutal. So to this, you just go up there and you get grilled.
Danger, right?
Yeah, and they talk to you, you're like the worst human being in the world. And you're like, I hate myself. And then they're like, next slide. And then someone else comes up.
The answer is, sir, I have not been briefed on that. My staff will have an answer to you in 5 seconds.
Sometimes, sometimes you're actually supposed to know it.
Oh,
like, and
because they give you a briefing what to go through, right?
This was what's called the BUA, the battle update. It was like twice a day. And so you'd have to get up and like, I got to tell you, it's pretty impressive. You'd watch, Petraeus, who I don't have a lot of respect for, did a lot of scummy stuff, but it's a whole nother unrelated topic, but a brilliant guy. And, these briefings were like 100 slides, like the weather guys would get up, and then like the division commander. I mean, he was a corps commander, but all these elements, weird, like the fuel guys, the train guy would get up and have 2 minutes. And like we would get up and he would twice a day go through these hour-and-a-half briefings. And it got to the point, like a lot of things stayed status quo and then you'd have something new. And then he'd be like, whoa, stop, back up. What's this? And I mean, he was keeping track of like 60, 70 different elements, from air defense to maneuver to intel to fuel to and aviation and weather and like
staff.
Well, but this is the staff distilling it down to the smallest amount for him, right? That's what these briefings were.
The nuance so that we can put together a detailed plan so that he doesn't get screwed.
And then when he's like, what's this? And dude's like, well, I think, and like they can tell because they used to be that guy. They know.
Right.
Oh, it was bad.
They know.
Yeah, they know. Just like we're supposed to give them 3 options, but you're always supposed to make one bad that you don't want them to pick. And I'm like, well, I mean, he went through this like 10 years ago. Like he knows we're doing it. And like, dumb is do it. Like,
and option C, we just spray sewage that's been radiated on everyone.
Well,
well, we'll take A and B and flip a coin.
The funny one was they did that for Afghanistan, and Obama confounded everyone by actually picking the throwaway. Right? They were like, go all in, pull a pitch, or like do this halfsy thing and have special forces guys run around. And he managed to pick the throwaway.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did somebody even mention it to him? Like, hey, that's not what we actually want you to pick. You probably should go to this one. Or did they just say, aye, sir?
I don't know.
Yeah.
And I don't know that was actually the throwaway, but it was the compromise. And when I look at the 3 courses of action, that had to be the throw. But I'm got to be clear, I'm speculating. I wasn't there for it. I heard about it. So yeah,
it's kind of scary.
That's how it works.
I definitely heard that he was definitely gunning. Like he always wanted to like show American strength. Like he was always looking to bring dominance to a point where he if you are going to mess with us, we will low key like kill all your family and let you sit there in their blood and think that through. Like that's like he was he was not a go ahead. Sorry.
The low key is the key, and it's the problem, right? We were blowing up Pakistani children all over the place, and they gave him Nobel Peace Prize.
Yep.
Like he was enamored with drone strikes, and I believe he dropped more bombs than any U.S. president, like with like some qualification about World War II or something. Like he.
We don't know this. I want to know because I'm serious. I've looked for that statistic, and and I want to see it. I've heard this. I've seen
triggered Pedro.
Huh?
Pedro's triggered.
No, it's not that I'm triggered.
You
know me, dude. Because I'm like, go ahead. What were you saying, Chris?
No, it's fascinating, and I'm trying to find it. I'm looking really, really quick.
You don't got to pull it up now. I mean, that's
no, but I'm interested too. I was trying to see if I could see it really fast, but there's some statistic, like with the exception of I can't remember, but yeah, it's a staggering amount, and there were all these drone strikes, and
he was. I mean, what he did with Russia, with him shorting oil, and then on top of that, crushing the ruble, dude, was brilliant. I mean, he just did not play fair. He was not.
Then they took Crimea, and he was like, "Oh, I don't know."
Right. That was
Yeah,
my
that
point.
was-
I was
yeah.
like, wait a minute.
He folded.
He's like,
and then we had that red line that was
Talk
with
about
all
a
the
fumble.
strange, the Syrian red line. And he's like, well, maybe
right,
they
Syrian
crossed
red
it,
line.
but
He's
they
like,
sort of didn't.
that was pink. It wasn't red.
But I'm not a big fan of his foreign policy. But the WMD thing. So I didn't work on that.
Woo! That's off my head. It's part
But
of
I
it.
do have, But I did have an interaction that was interesting. So they sent in a team called the Iraq Survey Group, right? They're the ones that were supposed to investigate, like, do they have it or not? And we did a thing for them once, and I was like, so hey, what are you doing? Like, how's it going? Any nukes? And they said something, two things that were really interesting. One day they came in with this aluminum tube, and they're like, do you know what this is? I'm like, that thing that you put posters in so they don't get wrinkled. And they're like, no, dummy. That, like, it's an uranium enrichment tube. It's the last step before you have a weapons grade program. So it's not proof that they had a weapons program per se, but everyone knows that, like, you don't actually need this, but it's allowed, like, it's a half step. So it was a signal. And again, I'm no expert in this. What they told me was they said, like, the Brits and the Dutch, like, there were a couple people who said, if you don't find that, we're leaving. Because we think that, like, your intel was so, like, we can't defend it. So I saw that, and I was like, should I be scared of that thing? So walking around with this uranium enrichment cylinder, that doesn't sound good.
Like a lightsaber.
It didn't, to my knowledge,
Starts glowing. You're all glowing. You're like, it was like, Moses? Like,
well, Iraq is the place for a lot of that. But so the dude had the cylinder, and I'm like, wow. And then they told me one other thing that was interesting. He said, Iraqi physicists have an unusual habit of burying their research equipment in their backyards 20 feet under the sand, which I studied anthropology to avoid doing math, but I'm pretty sure you don't bury your equipment.
Sensitive electronics.
Oh, jeez. Listen, oh my goodness. I just realized we haven't really talked about the stuff we wanted you to talk about. This is interesting, amazing stuff. But I would like for you to kind of talk about the inner interactions between Democrats and Republicans in relationship to crypto, along with.
Well, that was a turn.
I know. I just because the thing is, I know we're. I know.
I was just getting ready to end the show,
right, and I saw that, and I'm at a point where I know Tom. I can hear his breath, just like he's starting to know me now. I mean, 2 years of 2 hours every day, almost. Right, you start to learn somebody. I almost feel like I know him better than a girlfriend. You know. Maybe he is. Be quiet.
Cocaine.
So, but what I'm saying though is this: I'd love to know your view on what your. I was trying to actually do a setup right here so we could actually take a piece here. I'd love to know your view on what it looks like in Washington from a Democrat and Republican standpoint.
Yeah.
For crypto, and where do you think after the election, whoever wins, if it's Kamala, where you might turn, or Trump? Can you kind of elaborate what your thoughts are? Kind of like that undertow.
Yeah, I guess I'd buy a lot of XRP if Kamala wins.
Shame.
I think when you look at the party platforms, and I believe the only serious crypto stance was black men can get weed in crypto. Harris is willing to guarantee that. Which, by the way, is a violation of the Civil Rights Act. Like, we should all be able to get weed in crypto.
Right. It was the discrimination there.
Yeah. Which, by the way, that did come up already. That was not a violation of the Civil Rights Act. But no, I think so. Trump orange, Bitcoin orange. It's all bad. So for the Democrats, they don't want to touch Bitcoin. By and large, I think Rokana came out now and said, like, I support a strategic Bitcoin reserve. And I just, by the way, Cynthia Loomis, all of them, I have a lot of respect for them. But what do we do if it goes down? Just can you walk me through that?
We were talking about that today.
But that aside, right? So if I'm a Democrat, Bitcoin is the environmental destroying evil that sucks up all the electricity. I don't personally believe that. I'm just saying, and I know there's lots of arguments about load balancing and renewables, and it promotes innovation. I'm not actually, but if I'm a Democrat, I need environmentalist voters, so I'm kicking Bitcoin. It's evil. and kicking Bitcoin gets me my single largest voting bloc, environmentalists. So Harris has never said the word Bitcoin to my knowledge.
Yep.
She's finally moved through the stages of grief to get to crypto. I think she started from digital assets.
I think she used the word blockchain once.
Yeah, she's
blockchain. I think she said blockchain.
She never said crypto. I don't think she said crypto. I thought she said digital assets. And
I thought she said, but her website says cryptocurrency. Either way, she's not said Bitcoin. And that, I believe, is a very deliberate strategy. And it's not Bitcoin, technically, right? And I don't even know if they know this exactly is why, but they're against proof of work. That's actually the Democrats' issue here. All right. And so they have a problem with proof of work. They conflate exchanges with cryptocurrency, which is like, ridiculous, but the public's doing that because they don't care all that much. And they know that there's not single issue voters. Those virtually don't exist. So I know we like to, it's nice. And yes, could crypto tip a swing state? It just might, but like no one votes on a single issue.
The people that do it are very statistically impossible.
Insignificant. There's one exception, and that's something to ask Justin Wallin. Maybe I will, or you guys, whoever sees him first, with the camera on. There may be single issue abortion voters. That's a really contentious subject. There may be more there than anywhere else, but
and a couple in the Second Amendment community for sure.
Yeah, and a few on the guns. So there may be a few single issue voters there. But back to your question. So the Democrats, what Harris is signaling is, I'm going to protect you from getting ripped off by evil crypto bros. That's really the message she delivered when she said, weed and crypto for all black men. I'm not being sarcastic. That's basically what she said. Basically what she said.
Yeah.
And then, which I think came off as disingenuous, but I'll defer to the audience.
Ever since you minimized the effect of the local neighborhood hookup guy for selling weed, you don't take stacks of cash, as cannabis shops are switching now that they can use the bank from cash to debit, they're doing it as fast as they can, so they have no cash and nothing to get robbed there.
Well, a number of them are just getting out after she locked them up, and maybe she'll send them some crypto. But
I literally just had a friend of mine.
Prison in you?
Oh
man, dude, it's real.
And I'll just say on the Republican side, it's a lot of single within a certain for the Arab American community, that could be a lot. Right. I don't know if there's a lot of Gaza voters. I just saw the comment out of that. I don't actually know. Again, send us questions. We'll answer them the next time Justin and I are on, or I'll ask him those, see if he has some answers. And then, but for Republicans, there's Trump and then there's Republicans. Right. So there's a little bit of a separation there. Obviously, Trump's all on crypto. He's selling his World Liberty coin to accredited investors. And it is non-fungible? No. I don't know. You can't sell
Liberty or Freedom? I forget. Is it Freedom coin or is it Liberty?
I can't remember the name of it, which doesn't bode well.
Everybody knows.
World Liberty coin.
Yeah. World Liberty.
But it's produced by World Liberty Financial Institution or something like that.
Well, I know why they do that, because I've had some very detailed SEC compliance briefings. So, that's deliberate. But just like when I was with the Liberty Blockchain Pioneer Development Group, was developed for Liberty Blockchain, no confusion there about who's the developer.
No, there's no confusion there at all.
Never. What are you talking about?
Not in court. But so for the Republicans, you have Trump being kind of all in and excited about it, and launching your own coin right before the election. I don't know if that was ideal in some ways, but it's a signal to single issue Bitcoin people and crypto voters. Well, I know some of the Bitcoin maxers are mad at him now, but for crypto voters, hey, that guy's all in on crypto. Do set up his own coin. Yeah. Kind of meme coin, like an entire coin, and went to a lot of trouble. So I don't think he's lying in saying he likes crypto just to get votes, right? Because it's a legitimate concern about any politician. I think the dude's all in on that. And
some staffer come and brings him a piece of paper that says, "Well, we took $500 million in exit liquidity out of that and put it in your bank account," and love it. Love that.
Yeah, no, By the way, one other, so I can tell for the people into conspiracy theories, I had a guy who was going to come work for me at the comms firm I was at, and he was leaving the White House, and he'd been a very, very junior staffer at the White House under Trump. And great guy, was working his way through Princeton, getting his PhD. Was asked to come to the White House, take a break, like he wasn't some to the manor born little prick. And he's a good dude. But I asked him this, I'm like, and so when people are first starting out, right, like they're pretty open. In time, they kind of form tribes around DC, and like there's legacies and there's political reputations they're protecting, and you won't always get a straight answer. But when they're junior, they don't know what they're going to do. But I asked him, I'm like from my understanding of how the Russians operate, this just doesn't make sense that like they can control him. And when you think about it, I'm sorry, what they allegedly had, what's that, like a weekend for him? Like, why would that embarrass him? The number of NDAs, like it never made sense to me. But I asked the guy, I'm like, what did you guys think when the whole, like the Russians are controlling his brain from space came out? And he had the best line. He goes, we couldn't control them. How on earth would the Russians be able to do it?
Yeah.
Like we'd beg him just to sound presidential, like during his speech, and he'd do it like one time, and then he'd forget it. So like, how are they going to control him, and with what?
Yeah, like he's already built it. Right. Money, women, it's already there. I mean, he's 80. He's 80 plus, man. I mean, how much women can you have at that? I mean, so there comes that, right? It's like, okay, the man has everything.
Well, I believe he's more than happy to find out.
So I got that. All right. So the next thing. So my question is this. So my next question is this, and I think it's really important. Sitting in a bar with Dems and Republicans, they're away from the Capitol Hill, but they're down in the bars, right? They're all hanging out, right?
Not anymore, but go on.
Well, let's just assume.
Sorry
right?
about that.
Let's assume. Yeah. Let's assume here. Last time you were on, you were talking about how there are Democrats, some major heads that are kind of pro-crypto, but they can't just come out and say.
Yeah, they are.
What would it take necessarily for a bipartisan thing to happen if, let's say that, Bitcoin, if Trump gets involved, do you think many of those guys would come out and say, you know what, we are pro-crypto because of X, Y, Z? Could we see something like that?
So just kind of thinking about what the public affairs policy folks are going to deal with here at like Coinbase and whatever. So the issue is, if Trump gets elected, the Democrats are probably going to have to double, triple, quadruple down on threat to democracy, evil dictator. Everything he does is wrong, because that's going to keep their base fired up, and that's what they're going to need going into the midterms and to see some success. So it's going to be hard to agree with anything he does. Remember, Kamala Harris, while a presidential, as the VP candidate with Biden, refused to say whether she would get vaccinated or not when asked, because it was Trump's COVID vaccine. So I'm not casting any blame there. What I'm pointing out is like, that's how measured they are. So it's going to be difficult for Democrats to agree with anything Trump does, because they just told everyone he's Hitler, to the point where they get people to shoot at him now. So now you're just agreeing with what Hitler does, right? Like it's a problem. So they may not be able to cooperate too much. But if I'm trying to bring everybody together to get them along, sorry for laughing at the thought of that. I would say, all right, we got to hammer fraud. We got to hammer money laundering. So people who hate KYC, I got bad news for you. And then I'll give a little. But I need restrictions on electricity usage. To protect the environment. I need crypto bros in handcuffs, getting dragged out of their Lambos and handcuffed. I need, and then maybe I can give you something. And I think that's the problem. Now, if I'm a Democrat who's on the outside, unelected, looking to get elected the next cycle, and like I'm going to the primary and the Democratic rep votes for a strategic Bitcoin reserve, destroying the environment to help Donald Trump.
Wow.
Right. So it's how the system works. It's a feature. There's supposed to be gridlock, but yeah, I if it weren't Trump, I think the ability to have some common ground would be easier. And it's why I often, I think like Reagan brought out the best in his opponents, and unfortunately, I think Trump brought out the worst in his.
Right.
And so it's a shame, because I don't think they can get along. Once Trump is elected or leaves office, we'll see what the Republican Party is, and maybe they'll. Yeah, lizard people. I love that movie, Iron Sky. Not
or the old. Do you remember the old TV show V?
Yep. Diana.
The lizards.
Yeah.
The lady gave birth to twins, and one was a human, one was a lizard, and my sister and I nearly lost it.
Yeah, Green Blood. I think they blood Green Blood. Didn't they remake that
ladies
thing?
and gentlemen, we're coming to the end of the show here. I had a good. It's that time of the year, the quadrennial year, that ends with an election, and so it's good to have a little discussions about the wonk side of it. I'm glad the crypto swamp creatures are here on the channel with us, talking about all this great, wonderful stuff.
Oozing around.
I love it. I love it. It doesn't get as many views as the crypto bros.
Yeah.
But
it's still information, but they need to go back and need to understand what's happening, because ultimately this does affect the crypto bros as well as many of the crypto enthusiasts out there.
I would suggest, Pedro, it might be interesting to go back and look at your charts and just see how elections impact prices, because I would imagine Bitcoin's going to jump when if oh my God, conspiracy theories are going to, if Trump wins. I think you could see an uptick, and I don't know how long it would last, right? Because it's not going to be permanent. But I think it'd be really interesting to maybe look at that and how political, how elections and policy announcements can affect the market. The FBI nabbed the guy who took over the SEC, who was too dumb to have two-factor authentication on his Twitter account. That's what happened, by the way.
I absolutely love it, dude. As soon as he came out and said, "We are the most protected agency, you can come to us," boom, gets hacked, right? Like, you just talk about trolling. Anyways,
but the FBI got him. He's a U.S. citizen. Some kid who's probably not very happy right now. 25, I think. They got him, and they charged him because the manipulation, I think, was like he got a $1,000 or $2,000 spike.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of brilliant. I mean, it wasn't. I'll put it like this, man. If you're gonna come out and say something, and you're dealing with crypto, you're dealing with the smartest people in the world. Like, you're not dealing with stupid kids. You're dealing with people who graduated Harvard. You're dealing with kids who graduated MIT, right? When I went down to MIT and I was talking with people about crypto and stuff like that, like, they brought me to this thing. They were like, "Oh, we're doing a thing here," and they were talking about it, and I was so shocked. Of like, you had all these guys talking, and granted, like, I said, "Who's he?" "Oh, he's the president of with this," and I'm like, oh, so it's one of those things that I feel like, if you're gonna talk trash, you better understand you have the smartest people that will come, like you said, they'll check you. Like, if you come knocking, Easy's gonna come check you. So, and it's almost like that sense, right?
Absolutely.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's all we have for this week. Tomorrow is Full Rant Friday with Pedro leading the charge on that on X Spaces.
Oh, are you coming?
Look for the social media at about around 12:30. It'll be tomorrow, and our schedule next week will be a little variable. Stay tuned to social media for that. We had a great week this week. Lots of good talks, lots of great episodes of the Swamp Creatures. Look forward to more of them coming all the way up through the election. Then we'll see what goes on after that. But as I always say, on behalf of my guest over here, Chris Alexander, on behalf of my co-host over here, Pedro Garcia, my name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking, here in the digital media world. So glad to have hosted another great episode of this. We will see everybody again soon. So be great. Thanks, Jesus.
When I'm working that message out there, I mean, that's great.